Hello and welcome. Today we are in Nido in Palawan and we are about to be making our way over to the Taraw cliff, which is where the Canopy walk and Dreamcatcher experience is located. Now this is actually going to be just the walk to there from our beautiful hotel, and we're going to be walking past all the gorgeous beaches and oceans and of course through Nido itself. If you want to catch the actual experience, that is already available within the Philippines playlist, along with lots and lots of other videos. Now, our hotel location for where we needed to be was absolutely perfect. Now, this is actually going to be a brand new resort. They have literally just pancaked everything down, and supposedly by 2025, that is going to be an Egyptian-themed resort, and it does have access directly to the beach on the other side. Now you can see where we are as we just come down. That is the little shop that is just beside us, so that keeps everything nice and simple. So if you do need to get yourself some water or anything like that, they are very, very well stocked. We have got a couple of different ways we can get to the beach from our hotel as well, but this way was the more direct route to find this Canopy walk. Now it was a beautiful experience. It's probably the best view you're going to get of the actual town itself. So you go up extremely high up on the mountain, and then obviously you can get yourself some lovely photos of anything and everything that you want to. The view is just outrageous. So if you do have time to check out that video, obviously please feel free and let us know in the comment section below if it is on your bucket list of things to do in El Nido, because I cannot highly recommend it enough. Now the weather while we were there was beautiful as well, and it just made getting into the water perfect because you just easily get in there, no problems whatsoever. Now obviously the most popular form of transportation is a moped. There was a little moped hire place just down from us as well, so if you had a moped license you could obviously just grab yourself one of them, or I think it's just a driving license you need, to be honest, and then you can just jump on and then you can just crack on and pick some of those up. You can see again another resort there to the right hand side that has all been redone because this is the off season, so everything is getting redone ready for peak season, which would have been in a few months from when this was filmed. But you can see just how glorious that backdrop is, and we are only a few minutes away from the beach as well. We can take a right if we wanted to and just get down to the beachfront, or we can just carry on walking in a straight line like we're going to do, and then we'll have a quick look at what this amazing place has to offer in the daylight. And like I said, it is so easy to navigate. You just do it as a grid system, so everything is like a big rectangle shape, so you basically just go in a straight line, turn left or right, and then you just come back on yourself and you just treat it as a big grid. With the way to get to where we need to go for this experience, you literally just follow the water, follow the beach, follow the water all the way up, then you turn left when you need to, you turn right, you walk in a straight line, and it is there. And of course, if you want to, you can get yourself one of the trikes that will take you there, no problem. You can get, for us anyway, we had the opportunity to have the receptionist arrange transportation for us, or you could just walk a little bit further down to the beach and there would be people just waiting there to pick you up, and they could just take you up for a couple of minutes from where they're dropped off. But for the sake of a 20-minute walk in beautiful sunshine and fantastic views, it's just worth doing. Now again, we're just walking past a couple of different types of accommodation just to the left and just to the right, and there are a few shops around here. And again, if you need to get your laundry or anything like that done, there's a couple of laundry outlets. There's one here just to the left hand side, and they just charge you per kilo, so that keeps everything really helpful and handy. So if you do have a spillage in your luggage for whatever reason, there's plenty of these dotted around all around the island. You've got the ones where you just leave your luggage with them, or you can just do it yourself, and it just keeps everything nice and simple, so you don't have to worry, because it is always a bit of a panic when you travel long distance and, for example, your shower gel explodes, then you're left with nothing, and then you've got to clean everything in the kitchen sink, whereas here, not a problem whatsoever. But you can just see how beautiful all of this is, and this is just the busy walkway before we get to the beach, and then it all opens up, the footpaths all open up, and it's just so easy to get around this island. I would come back here in an absolute heartbeat, and it is definitely on one of the best things I've ever done, climbing up the big cliff on the Canopy walk, just with how high you end up climbing up. Now there is going to be lots of different waterfall walks within this playlist as well, and that was also a magical experience, just going for a half-hour hike to the top of a waterfall to experience all of that, to then come back down again. You can get some beautiful photos and some pictures. But sticking with what we're looking at now, there is lots and lots of these little huts that are dotted about, and they offer all different types of tours. Now again, you can see that there's quite a lot of place where you can just grab yourself a drink and some snacks and things. They're dotted all over the place, but there is quite a lot of different touristy things that you can do with lots of different companies. Now they are dotted all the way around the island. They're there or thereabouts the same price. It's cheaper if you go and speak to them directly, I do believe, rather than actually doing it online through a third party, because obviously the third party will take a commission. So just do a little bit of research on whatever it is that you want to do first, and then you can just go, for example, on an island hopper, which seemed to be extremely popular. For those island hoppers, if I remember rightly, there are 4 different packages. Each package is basically a full day. It's like 9:30 till 5:30, and you do loads of different stuff, and each package is completely different. So some of it will be, for example, going around in your kayak and just exploring everything and going into the cliffs and all that kind of thing. Other bits and pieces, you go a little bit further away and explore different beaches. There is so much to do on this island with regards to going to lots of other beaches as well, a little bit further afield. The one thing I do recommend is for one day, hire yourself a driver. Use one of the e-trike drivers. Pre-book it with your hotel. You pay a set fee, and they'll basically take you all around the island all day. You can speak to them. They will do it in the best order for the most time saving, and they will just stay with you when you get dropped off at your destination, and then they'll just be waiting in the little car park area. And obviously it's always nice, like we did, to then take them out for lunch or dinner before you go home, because I think it's just the nicest thing to do. I don't think you have to, but morally it is a nice thing to do, and we did, because our driver was absolutely fantastic. He took us to amazing waterfalls. He took us on some really nice drives, and we just saw all the different bits and pieces around the island. And if we had another couple of days here, we could have easily have filled them as well. So like I said, there's quite a lot to explore. So if you are staying on this part of the island where we were, it is definitely the quieter side, because as we start now to get to the beachfront, because there is a beachfront literally the opposite to our right hand side, which we could have cut down and walked up, but this was just the slightly quicker way to do it this way. And then when we hit the actual glorious white sands, it's just a straight line. But you can see now it's just opening up, and it is just gorgeous. So you have, it's just like this now for the rest of the video, just gorgeous, gorgeous views. You can sit on the sand, you can get in the water, you can do whatever you want to do. We could have walked that bit, but it would have added a couple of minutes on, which we kind of had to have walked down in a straight line rather than just walking diagonally across. So we probably saved 4 minutes in total, but we're still learning where the stuff is on the island. But you can either walk on the sand, or you can just stick to the road on this bit, and then in a second you can just cut down the beachfront all the way around. So these are the different islands, obviously, as you can see in the background, and you can go and do different activities on the different things. This looked a beautiful type of accommodation as well. This was really, really pretty to walk past in the evening. You've got the swings and things just out the front. There is a bar as well on the outside, and as we pan round in a second and I start to look up the mountain, they are in the process of putting in some insane rooms. So they are going to be very, very high up, and if I was to ever come back here, I would definitely try and hunt down where they are, because I think the view would just be out of this world. And when I say they're up, they are up. You can see they're really, really high up within the trees. There's the first room. There's actually 3 rooms, and the third one's that high you can't even see it. But they look like they're getting a full redo, and they're dotted all over the place on this island. The different types of accommodation that you've got over here, it's just so simple. So I was saying before about if you were to stay where we were, it's nice and peaceful. You've got some little shops and everything just beside it. We've got a nice little balcony that we can sit on, and when you come back in the evening, it's literally just silent. If you were to stay where we've just walked by, I think that would be the best of both worlds, because it would be silent, but you would also be able to see the water, and you'd also be able to hear it as well. If you were to stay in the resorts that were the in front of our hotel. Again, you've got the opportunity of the beachfront, but obviously the resort that was in front of us had actually been knocked down. It was in the process of being rebuilt, so I can't tell you how noisy that's going to be. As you start coming in, so in the distance now, where you can see that gorgeous mountain, and then you've got the row of what looks like different accommodation and shops. Some of that is accommodation, and some of that is shops, and also some of that is boats as well. That is somewhere else that you can stay on the island as it starts to wrap around. But that is more of the noisier area. So in the evening, when you're going for a nice walk about 9-10 o'clock at night, you have got beautiful views with the water coming in, so you could hear the water. But then also at the same time, you have got lots and lots of people walking around, and it is quite noisy. So again, it was noisy enough in the off-peak season. I don't know how noisy it will be in the full peak season. So again, think about what it is that you're going there for. Do you care where you are staying on the island? Because for us, it made a huge difference with just being it's so easy location. Obviously, we could have stayed in a little bit closer if we could have, but we had absolutely no idea about anything of this island because this was booked. Everything was booked about 2 hours before we flew, pretty much, because we got stuck in Manila. We couldn't get to our next destination, so we then had to rebook the flight. We booked a hotel. We did everything over lunch, and then we just jumped on a plane and then arrived here. So yes, it was a bit of a shock to the system just to see how beautiful this was, but like I said, I cannot recommend it enough to you. But we're not that far away from the actual Canopy walk anyway. So we are at probably the furthest away that you could probably be within walking distance, I would say, because if you have caught any of the other videos within the Philippines playlist, with regards to where you actually get dropped off from the airport, it's pretty much in the centre a little bit higher up. It's quite hard to explain because we're about to walk past the town square, but that's technically not the centre of the shops. There's a real hive of activity about 5, maybe 10-minute drive from there, and that's where you get dropped off, and that's where some of the other hotels are and accommodation. But from there you wouldn't be able to walk to the Dreamcatcher experience. So just give it a bit of a Google, because there are lots and lots of different places that you can stay. But if you want to do everything that is basically within walking distance, or if you wanted to make it easier for yourself, and obviously you can just hire a bike, then that is not a problem whatsoever. But I couldn't recommend enough, like I said before, just getting yourself a driver for the day, get over to all the different waterfalls and all the other little bits and pieces like that, and you just get the best of both worlds. Now, there to the left, there was a bar area that was closed for the first few days that we were there, but then it did seem to open up. So I'm not too sure if that was linked to some of the island hopper tours, because there are packages that you can buy where they include, for example, 2 days, 3 nights, and you do stay in accommodation, and that potentially was one of the places that you might have stayed. To the left of us, again, that is a very big resort, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the most expensive ones on booking.com, if I have got the name right. So to the left-hand side, huge swimming pool, all your different sun lounges in there, and then you can literally just walk straight onto the beach, walk into the really, really clear ocean, and then come back in and just sit on your resort. So if you wanted that kind of thing, really, really easy as well. And again, you're still on the quieter bit, and it is just starting to get a little bit busier as we go. But again, let's be honest, it is just such a magical place. You've got to walk around it at least once just to explore everything, because it is one of those places where it is mind-blowing. You see it in the evening, it's very, very pretty. You see it during the day, and again, I think it looks incredible, and I'm just so lucky that we managed to get here completely by, well, it's not so much by mistake, because we ended up picking coming here, but the fact that we were even given the opportunity to come here when we didn't think about it a few hours previous. I am very, very lucky that we did get here. So this is now what I mean about just walking on the beach. You can turn left, and you can then walk past all of the little different shops and things like that. The accommodation there to our left-hand side is probably the last of the quiet accommodation by the seafront. because then a couple further on, that is where the clubs and things start to happen, and then they have lights projected onto the beach. So again, you've just got to be careful, because you will see the beautiful views, and I would imagine you can see all the balconies and everything that they've got on the bottom and the top, and it would be a very, very nice thing to see the sunset and the sunrise over breakfast on your own balcony. So again, you'll just be looking out at this. But if you've got a load of music until sort of 1-2 o'clock in the morning, it could get a little bit thin quite quickly, especially if you're trying to come here for more of a relaxing type thing. But it has got a very, very lively nightlife in certain places. But in all fairness, that is in the sort of more into the middle. But again, you have got accommodation next door to these places that then do go over the top. And reading some of the reviews where we stayed, a couple of people did say if you wanted a bit of peace and quiet and you wanted to get away from the hustle and bustle and sit on the balcony, that is one of the better places to go to. And until you walk around and see it for yourself, I didn't really think anything of it, but I was very, very glad that we did have the balcony. And it was so quiet and peaceful, because you could just leave the door open if you wanted to, and you heard nothing. So it was just silent. But being here, it would be amazing to hear all the waves and all the water. Now, these are the different boats that you can get on, obviously, and these are the things that they offer different services. So some of these will be the island hopper bits and pieces. Like I said, there's multiple companies you can do different things with, and a lot of the boats are all the same size. And again, there's more accommodation there just to the left-hand side, as you can see, and then you have got different bits and pieces. I think you can hire, just jump in the water, and then you can just carry on. So you can go and explore yourself if you wanted to, or I do recommend just getting out and exploring the island any way you can. If you don't have the fitness level, or you suffer with injuries or a disability or whatever it is like that, they do offer a island tour by land. So you can just sit in one of the e-trikes, they're comfortable enough, and then you can just see it for yourself, and they'll just take you to all of the more touristy destinations if you wanted to see that kind of thing, or they can just take you to the more beautiful destinations if they want to. And again, there is white, glorious beaches dotted all over this island, and some of them will be in this playlist as well, and they were empty. Some of the places that we managed to go to, thanks to the driver that we had, we could not believe we could just walk in, have breakfast. The beach, the sand, the sea was so clean and clear. It was just mind-blowing. And then from there, you then went off to a waterfall. You could see all of that kind of thing, and then you just move on from there. So again, depending on what it is you're coming here for, I think it will tick the box for everybody. But the main thing to remember is there is absolutely no smoking anywhere around on the island, which is perfect for me, because I don't. But it was one of the first places I've been to in the world where not a single person had a cigarette in their mouth. So there was no cigarette butts in the sand. There was no rubbish on the sand. There was no rubbish in the water. You had actual fresh crab walking around on the sand, and then obviously getting back into the water itself. And you had all the fish in the water. It was one of the cleanest and clearest things I think I've ever seen. Now, we are, again, you can see you're at the dive resort just to the left hand side, so that is bits and pieces that they do obviously offer, and they are huge around on these different islands, where you've got the different scuba diving bits and pieces that you can do. Now, just a reminder that we are parallel, so what we're seeing to the left hand side, if we were walking down the main strip, we would have all the shops and everything on our left and right hand side, and then we're not too far away from the actual walk itself. Now, what I will do is I'll add about 30 seconds of the walk to the end of this video, so you can see exactly what it looks like. But the full walk, like I've already said, is available in a separate upload, and I was amazed by just how steep it was and just how beautiful the views are. You have a harness on where you've got to go over a big bridge, then you go up loads of stairs. You actually walk on the rock face itself as well, all the way up, and then you do the same thing on the way back down again. And that was an experience that we didn't know what it was to do with. We just saw a photo of it and thought we'll give it a go, and luckily didn't spoil it for myself whatsoever by seeing anything else of how you get up there and do different bits and pieces. But all those kind of activities over here, I really honestly could not recommend it enough for that kind of thing. And if you just want to do what we're doing now and just walking across the beachfront, you literally can walk all the way to the end of where the sand finishes, and then you can just walk directly behind one of the buildings and then start walking back through the centre, and then the centre opens up into another grid pattern where you can again turn left, right and do wherever it is that you wanted to do. But all you need to do is you just got to make sure that you just head back towards the water, and then you can just come back to this point at any time. We figured it out within half a day in the daylight without Google Maps or anything. It was that easy to get around it. Once you figured out where it is that you wanted to go, you could easily get to that place by foot. You didn't really have to panic about it too much. And obviously the further things that were further afield, you would just then need to get a driver for. But how far are we in? We're 20 minutes in, and I don't think we've got too much longer left, because I think what we're going to do very, very soon is we're going to walk off the beach, and then we're going to start walking where it's a lot more built up, and then before you know it, we are actually going to be where we need to go. So you can keep your eyes peeled for more of the more popular destinations on the inside. All of this food that we're about to be seeing as we start walking by, it smells so fresh in the evening. Because don't forget, we're mid-morning, so some of these things won't open up to the evening. Again, you can see some of the things have been built, they're all being refurbed, and they're all being done out for next season. That did seem to be a common theme, because there wasn't a huge amount of places that I could have actually booked that was still available, even though it was so quiet, because I think so many places were in the process of all being redone. But where you can see the white and the yellow just here, that is just one huge restaurant, and again that smelt incredible. And we walked back this way on our first night, so we knew exactly where to turn into. So then you just turn up here, you've got a load of eateries on the left, you've got more eateries on the right. There is a 7-Eleven and a convenience store just a little bit further up on the left hand side, and you'll notice that there'll be loads and loads of people trying to sell you different packages for different things, and that's all to do with all the watery stuff obviously at the front. But it looks like a postcard with that backdrop, because obviously that isn't fake, that is exactly what you see during the day, but you just don't notice it at night. Now as you carry on going up, again you've got more fancy places where you can eat on the left, and then you've got all the sort of the different gear bits and pieces that you'll need on the right hand side. Now some of these things are essential to go out, so I'd highly recommend getting the bag and getting yourself some of the wet shoes as well, especially when you go up the waterfalls. That way you don't have to worry about your flip-flops, you don't have to worry about your trainers, you can just keep them on, and you can climb up basically the rock face, and then you're good to go. But all of this at night, it's all super safe, it's all lit up really, really nicely. You can see now we're starting to get more into the built up area, but again, if you would prefer to have accommodation here, you can, because there is accommodation all over the place from here. And again, you can pick up the e-trikes from, well, wherever it is that you wanted to go. You've got loads of different pickup points of all of that kind of thing as well. Obviously the only thing is coming in now is that we've got the big main roads, so during the day it might be a little bit more busier, but at night there's hardly anybody about. They're all walking around. But we are now, if I remember rightly, it's just a straight line, because that, what I said is the postcard and the backdrop, is actually where you start to walk up. I'm sure that is the bit that you walk up. I could have just shot myself in the foot and we could turn right here, but I'm sure we just walk in a straight line, and then before you know it, we're going to be there. So there's not too much longer left of this video. So if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Again, let us know in that comment section below if El Nido is on your list. What is the top 5 things you would like to do over here? I do very, very, very much highly recommend just having one day just to get out and explore. Just see it for yourself. If there's something that you suddenly see that you'd like to do, just do it and just soak it all in. Grab yourself a nice bite to eat and some nice food and things like that. Maybe plonk that right in the middle on day 3. So obviously day 1, when you land in here, you've got the long drive. It's a 6-hour drive if you were to get to the island by that minibus, for example, that is just pulled out in front. Or you can land in the El Nido airport, but then that is much, much more expensive doing it that way. There is a DIY travel guide already up on the channel of how we actually got here. Instead of it being 6 hours long, it's only about 28 minutes long, and that does cover all the different types of transportation back to the hotel that we've just walked from. So if that would be helpful for anybody, hunt that down again in the Philippines playlist. And obviously if there's anything that I can help you with, just get in that comment section below, and I will do my very, very best to help with anything that I can think of. So it does look like it is coming up, because that backdrop has now disappeared, because obviously we're walking around the little curve. So what I said looked like a postcard is where we walked right to the very, very top. And it was amazing because you just go in there, you fill out all the forms, you get given all your safety gear, then you follow the instructor around, and then before you know it, you are up on the top. There's, if you, for whatever reason, you need to fix your phone or you need like a memory card, because I actually ran out of memory cards. Up this way as well, there's actually a place that you can easily buy the memory cards from, and they are much, much cheaper getting them here than they are in the UK, and they are the ScanDisk Extreme Pro cards. So they're the ones that do write very, very quickly onto, for example, the GoPros and things, and they're easily available because you can actually hire the GoPros from different places as well. And that's the e-trike that I was talking about, so you can just get in one of those if you wanted to, and that'll take you to wherever it is that you would like to go. So we have got a couple of different bits. So there's another inn. I'm just trying to get my bearings. So all of this is all accommodation. So you wanted to stay up here, this would be a nice place for anybody to stay. Obviously this bit is in walking distance to basically anything, but you can see how everybody's sort of just turning left. You walk up that way and you could turn left again, and then you'd end up by the beach. Well, you turn left to turn left to turn left, and then you'd be back by the beach again of where we've just come from. So that's how easy it is. So you can just keep walking in long lines all the way up, all the way back down again. That's another beautiful bit of accommodation just there. It was amazing to see all of this for the first time. We literally woke up, saw that we could have done this. We went online, we booked it, didn't know where we were going, and then we just walked there. And we gave ourselves exactly enough time as well. It just happened to be that there was a time slot available. We Google mapped it and saw how long it would take to walk there, and we just thought, well, we don't really know what it's about, but we'll give it a go. And then we end up where we are now, which is exactly where it is that you need to be. So we're here. So where you got the blue arch, just to the right hand side of it, is actually the entrance to the walk, and that is what you got to walk up. It is just amazing. Honestly, I cannot recommend going up there enough. They do offer so many different activities as well for different rock climbing stuff and that kind of thing, but all the information about this place, like I said, is online with everything on the Philippines playlist. But this is the top, so this is what it's all about. So if you want to see this for yourself and you want to see these views, get yourself on this tour, get yourself into the Philippines playlist, and just click on the video and just experience it all, because honestly, it is beautiful. But hopefully that has been a little helpful video of just how easy it is to walk around this beautiful place. Like I said, we found it first time, absolutely no problem. This was, I think, our first full day that we're on the ground, I think, and we just decided to do this just completely out the blue, which was an amazing experience to do. I'm sure this is our first full day, because the day before we had the 6-hour drive to get there, so we're still getting our bearings at this point. We could easily find all the food and how to get around. It was just a breeze. But guys, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-da.